The scream echoed across the battlefield the instant the human touched the fallen queen's sword. Every alien warrior froze. The silver blade burst into blinding white light. Then, something impossible happened. Thousands of battle-hardened soldiers, warriors who had never feared death, turned and ran in absolute terror. The human didn't even know why. He was only trying to return what didn't belong to him. Dust rolled across the crimson plains of Kalor Prime. Burning wreckage covered the horizon. Broken walkers smoldered beside shattered banners. The war was over. At least, that was what Noah Carter believed. A former Earth rescue engineer, Noah wasn't a soldier. He had never wanted to become one. Humanity had entered the Galactic Alliance barely 12 years earlier, seen as emotional, fragile, and hopelessly primitive beside civilizations that had ruled the stars for millennia. So while alien heroes chased glory, humans repaired ships, built shelters, and searched battlefields for survivors. That was why Noah was there. His scanner chirped. One life sign. Weak. Barely alive. He hurried toward the signal. Beneath a collapsed stone arch lay a wounded alien woman wrapped in dark silver armor. Her helmet had cracked, revealing pale skin marked with glowing blue lines. Long white hair spilled across the blood-soaked ground. Commander Lyra Vane. Even Noah recognized the crest on her armor. She belonged to the Wreckage. The galaxy called them the Blade Dynasty. For thousands of years, they had never surrendered a war. Now their greatest commander struggled just to breathe. Several meters away rested her sword. It wasn't simply a weapon. It was the crown blade. Legends claimed only blood descendants of the first queen could touch it. Anyone else who tried would die before their fingers closed around the hilt. Noah had never heard those stories. He simply saw someone's belongings lying in the dirt. Easy, he whispered as he reached for it. Behind him came terrified shouting. Human. A tall alien sprinted across the battlefield. Archivist Sunkale, one of the Alliance historians. His usually calm face had gone completely pale. Don't touch it. Too late. Noah's fingers wrapped around the handle. Nothing happened. He frowned. Heavier than I expected. Sun stopped running. His mouth slowly opened. No. The sword remained silent. No explosions. No lightning. No death. Noah casually carried it toward Lyra. I think this belongs to. The moment he knelt beside her, the blade awakened. White light erupted toward the clouds. Ancient symbols spiraled across the metal. The ground trembled. Every surviving Wreckage warrior looked toward Noah at exactly the same moment. Their expressions changed instantly. Not anger. Not confusion. Pure horror. One warrior dropped to his knees. Another backed away. A third began whispering prayers that hadn't been spoken in thousands of years. What have you done? Sun breathed. Before Noah could answer, another ship descended from the smoke. Its black hull carried the crimson emblem of General Zareth, the conqueror responsible for today's massacre. His troops surrounded the valley within seconds. Zareth stepped forward slowly, 7 feet tall, covered in black armor. His mechanical eyes fixed on the glowing sword. Then on Noah. His voice suddenly lost all confidence. It cannot be. One of his officers leaned closer. My general, shall we attack? Zareth didn't answer immediately. He stared at the human as though looking at a nightmare that had climbed out of history itself. Finally, he whispered only 3 words. Retreat. Now. Every officer blinked. My general? I said retreat. His voice cracked. The order stunned both armies. The undefeated conqueror was afraid. His entire fleet abandoned the battlefield within minutes. No one understood why. Least of all Noah. He looked down at the sword. I seriously think someone should explain what's happening. Commander Lyra slowly opened her eyes. The instant she saw the glowing weapon resting peacefully in Noah's hands, her face drained of color. She struggled to sit upright despite her wounds. No. Tears formed in her silver eyes. After all these centuries. She looked directly at the confused human. The sword has chosen. Silence swallowed the battlefield. Even the wind seemed afraid to move. Then somewhere beyond the mountains, a colossal bell rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Its sound had not echoed across the galaxy for over 4,000 years. Every ancient civilization knew what it meant. The last guardian had awakened. The bell's final echo had not yet faded when every communicator on the battlefield died at once. One by one. Silence. The stars above Kalor Prime shimmered unnaturally. A ring of white light spread across the sky, as if space itself had been cut open. Noah tightened his grip on the glowing sword. I don't understand any of this. Commander Lyra slowly rose despite her wounds. Every movement sent pain through her body, but the fear in her eyes was stronger. You were never supposed to touch it. I only picked it up. No, she whispered. You answered it. Before Noah could ask another question, hundreds of Vakari warriors dropped to one knee. Not for Lyra. For him. Noah stepped backward. Please don't. None of them moved. Archivist Sun looked ready to collapse. I've studied every surviving record of the First Age, he murmured. Every legend claimed the Guardian would return when the galaxy faced extinction. He stared at Noah. I never imagined the Guardian would be human. Far beyond the valley, General Zareth watched through his flagship's observation chamber. His breathing had become uneven. His officers had never seen him afraid. One finally dared to speak. My general, why flee from a single primitive? Zareth remained silent. Then he activated a forbidden archive. An ancient image appeared. A figure stood surrounded by burning stars. Not Vakari. Not any known species. The figure carried the same sword. Entire fleets burned without firing a shot. The last guardian, Zareth whispered. My ancestors erased this history. Because they lost.
No.
His mechanical eyes narrowed. Because they survived. The bridge became deathly quiet. Meanwhile, deep beneath Kalor Prime, something enormous awakened. Stone cracked. Chains older than civilization shattered. A pair of brilliant golden eyes slowly opened inside absolute darkness. The mountain trembled. Sin suddenly looked toward the cliffs. Oh no! Lyra's expression hardened. It heard the bell. What heard it? Noah asked. She hesitated. The keeper. The keeper of what? The truth. Before anyone could explain, the ground exploded. A massive creature emerged from beneath the valley, nearly 200 feet tall. Its body looked carved from black crystal. 6 wings unfolded like mountains opening. Ancient symbols glowed across its armor-like skin. Every Vakari warrior immediately lowered their weapons. Not in surrender. In respect. The creature ignored them all. Its burning eyes focused only on Noah. Every heartbeat felt heavier. The giant slowly approached. Each step shook the battlefield. Noah instinctively placed himself in front of the wounded soldiers. He wasn't thinking. He simply refused to let anyone else die. Lyra noticed first. Even facing a monster capable of crushing cities, the human moved toward danger. Not away. She whispered to herself. Humans are different. The keeper stopped only a few feet away. Its enormous head lowered until one glowing eye stared directly into Noah's face. Then it spoke. Its voice sounded like planets colliding. Blood. Noah frowned. I'm pretty sure we're not related. Several warriors gasped. Even Lyra nearly smiled despite the terror. No one had ever joked with the keeper. The giant remained motionless. Then unexpectedly, its expression softened. An enormous claw slowly reached forward.
Sun screamed.
Run. Instead, the claw gently touched Noah's shoulder. A warm pulse surged through the battlefield. The sword shined brighter than the sun. Memories flooded Noah's mind. Endless wars. Fallen worlds. A human civilization that should not have existed. Cities hidden among impossible stars. Children laughing beside the very same blade. Then, darkness. Someone had erased humanity from history. Noah staggered backward, breathing hard. What was that? The keeper looked toward the heavens. They are coming. Above the planet, space split apart. Not one fleet. Not 10. Thousands of black warships emerged from hyperspace, stretching farther than the eye could see. Every alliance frequency erupted with desperate warnings. Unknown armada detected. Planetary extinction level. Prepare for annihilation. General Zareth stared at the arriving fleet in horror. His fear was no longer directed at Noah. It was directed at those who had finally found him. The flagship at the center of the armada transmitted a single message across every known language. Guardian identified. Recover the human. Destroy everything else. And for the first time since the war began, the entire galaxy realized this battle had never been about the Vakari. It had always been about one ordinary human who unknowingly carried the oldest secret in existence. The first enemy cannon fired. It wasn't aimed at an army. It wasn't aimed at a city. It targeted Noah. A beam brighter than a newborn star ripped through the sky. Noah! Lyra screamed. He had nowhere to run. The blast swallowed him. The valley vanished beneath a wall of white fire. When the light faded, every living soul stood frozen. Noah was still standing. Not a single burn marked his body. The glowing sword floated before him, surrounded by a shield of golden light. Even Noah stared at his own hands. I didn't do that. The keeper lowered its massive head. You remembered. No, I remembered nothing. Your heart did. Across the battlefield, thousands of enemy soldiers stopped advancing. Fear spread through their ranks. One whispered, "Humans are different." Another dropped his weapon. General Zareth slowly removed his helmet. His scarred face carried decades of regret. He walked alone toward Noah. His own officers begged him to stop. He ignored them. When he reached the human, he knelt. The conqueror of 1,000 worlds
Bowed.
I have spent my life hunting ghosts, Zareth said quietly. I thought destroying every record would erase your people forever. Noah looked confused. My people? Earth barely joined the galaxy. Zareth closed his eyes. That is what they wanted you to believe. The enemy flagship suddenly transmitted another command. General Zareth, you have failed. You are no longer required. Without warning, hundreds of black cannons turned toward Zareth. They fired together. Noah reacted without thinking. He threw himself in front of the kneeling general. Lyra gasped. No. The explosion consumed them both. When the smoke cleared, Noah was on one knee. Blood ran from his forehead. But Zareth was alive. The human had protected the very man who had invaded his world. Why? Zareth whispered. Noah struggled to breathe. Because someone has to end this. Silence spread across the battlefield. Even the invading fleet hesitated. The keeper's ancient voice echoed across the stars. The guardian has made his choice. Suddenly, the sword left Noah's hand. It rose into orbit. Higher, higher, until every ship in space could see it. The blade unfolded like a living constellation. Millions of forgotten symbols ignited across the galaxy. Hidden structures awakened on abandoned moons. Ancient stations powered on. Silent beacons answered the call. The truth could no longer be buried. Humanity was not the youngest civilization. It was the first. Long before the current empires existed, humans had united countless species instead of conquering them. When a race known only as the Devourers arrived from beyond the edge of reality, humanity refused to sacrifice innocent worlds. Instead, they erased themselves from history. Every record, every monument, every star map. They scattered their descendants across distant planets, including Earth, so the Devourers would never find them. Until today. The enemy armada was never an empire. They were the last servants of the Devourers. They had spent thousands of years searching for one thing, the Guardian. And Noah had finally been found. The fleet charged. 10,000 warships rushed toward the planet. Noah slowly stood. He wasn't stronger than them. He wasn't smarter. He was simply human. He looked toward Lyra.
Toward sun.
Toward Zareth. Toward frightened soldiers from worlds that had hated one another only hours before. Then he smiled. We stand together. The sword answered. Every hidden defense left behind by ancient humanity activated at once. No giant superweapon. No planet-killing laser. Something far greater. A shield. Golden light spread across the galaxy, linking thousands of civilizations into one unbreakable barrier. The Devourer's weapon struck. Nothing broke. Their own energy rebounded. Ship after ship vanished into the darkness they had unleashed. Within minutes, the endless armada was gone. The war ended not through destruction, but through protection. The battlefield became silent. Lyra walked toward Noah with tears in her silver eyes. "You saved people who wanted you dead." Noah laughed softly. "My mother always said strength isn't measured by who you can destroy." He looked across the peaceful sky. "It's measured by who you refuse to abandon." The keeper smiled for the first time in 10,000 years. So the stories were true. What stories? That humanity's greatest weapon was never the sword. It was the heart willing to carry it. Months later, representatives from every known civilization gathered on Kalor Prime. Noah refused every crown, every title, every throne. He returned to rebuilding homes, exactly as he had before. Children from dozens of species often asked why the greatest guardian in history lived like an ordinary man. The keeper always gave the same answer. Because that. It looked toward Noah, helping strangers lift broken stone, is exactly what makes humans impossible to defeat. And from that day forward, every child in the galaxy learned one lesson before anything else. Never judge a human by the weapon in their hand. Judge them by the kindness in their heart. Because when humanity chooses to protect instead of conquer, even legends bow.